Just before we get started, this podcast is from BitFamous. We help organizations drive growth through confident communication. But what does that look like? Well, a leading bank asked us to support some of its most talented women leaders. They needed more impact, influence, and confidence to drive their careers forward. We created a tailored program, and it worked. The bank saw a 10 times return on its investment, and we became an L&D Supplier of the Year finalist at the Personnel Today Awards. Win-win. So, do you have a confidence or communication challenge? Let's fix it. Head to bitfamous.co.uk and hit the big red button. Now, on with the show. Hi, I'm Steve Blears, this time on the Media Training Podcast. Everything that happens in a press conference is on the record. We're not taking questions on that at the moment. You may not be speaking, but everything you do will be filmed. Say what you need to say, take some questions, and wrap it up. We're discussing how to hold a press conference. Today, I'll break it all down, why you might need one, how to set it up, and what to do on the day. Now, I've attended hundreds of press conferences as a journalist. I've seen the good, the bad, and the chaotic. So let's get into it. First up, why should you hold a press conference? Well, a press conference is about efficiency, getting your message out to as many journalists as possible, as quickly as possible. It saves everyone a lot of time and energy. Instead of fielding dozens of individual calls and interviews, you set the record straight in one go. For example, I've been to press conferences where the police give updates on major criminal investigations or conclusions to high-profile court cases. The chief detective will sit behind a desk delivering key facts and answering a limited set of questions. Alternatively, big corporations like Apple turn what are effectively press conferences into a spectacle by making them the centerpiece of product launches. So whether it's a crisis, a breaking news event, or a major company announcement, press conferences work because they give journalists a single source of reliable information. But this is the important bit. Just calling a press conference doesn't guarantee that journalists will turn up. You need to have a story with really strong media interest. If you're just launching a new product with no major news angle, you're probably better off sending a press release instead. Confused? Listen back to my episode called How the News Works. There's lots of tips there about what is the news and what isn't. Next, who does the talking at a press conference? Well, you'll need a spokesperson who's comfortable in front of the press. In many cases, that's a CEO, the boss, or an official of some sort. You really don't need a bank of experts. Just find the person in your organization who has the seniority and the confidence to speak. If you're putting up more than one person, do consider diversity, and they shouldn't go it alone. There should also be a press officer or moderator present. This person plays an essential role in doing quick instructions, marshalling questions, and keeping things moving smoothly and stepping in to shut down off-topic questions. Okay, setting up the press conference. When it comes to logistics, you don't need a fancy venue. Journalists aren't there for the decor, they're there for the story. A simple room with enough seating, good lighting, and a desk or somewhere to present from will do the job. I've attended press conferences in everything from grand conference rooms to hastily arranged spaces in village halls. Do your best to make sure there's enough room for reporters and crews to do their job. Often there isn't, it's a bit cramped, and that really doesn't matter. Don't worry too much about making journalists comfortable. No need for sandwiches and coffee. Just let them in and leave them to squabble over who puts their microphone where. Right, let's discuss time management of press conferences. Once journalists are in the room, you need structure. Start on time. Journalists work to tight deadlines. Try not to keep them waiting around. Get the introductions out of the way quickly. Have a clear opening statement from your moderator saying who is about to give the statement, whether you'll be fielding questions afterwards, and scope what you will and won't discuss. Then it's over to your main spokesperson to do their thing. They might want to deliver a prepared statement. If you're apologising for something, take a listen to my earlier episode, Public Apologies, How to Say Sorry in the Media and Mean It. It's packed with tips, advice and examples about saying sorry without cocking things up and making it worse, so take a listen. Now, questions in press conferences. It's normal to have a Q&A after your prepared statement. This is where your moderator will earn their salary as the gatekeeper. Maybe ask for a show of hands from anyone with a question, and then try to be fair in the way that you share out the option for a question in the room. Pick from a selection of media types, print, radio, TV, that sort of thing. You don't need to give everyone the chance to ask a question, but make sure all key queries have been covered. Q&As can sometimes descend into chaos, especially on a breaking news story, and that's normal. A strong moderator can keep things orderly, directing questions and cutting off anything irrelevant. And there's something, and if there's something you can't or won't discuss, be upfront about it. We're not taking questions on that at the moment, is a perfectly legitimate response. Again, take a listen to one of my episodes. How do you handle media questions that you don't want to answer? Right, let's talk a little bit about timings of press conferences. Timing is everything. If it's breaking news, don't wait to get the press conference, schedule it as soon as possible. That's within an hour or so, not days. If you're holding a press conference for a planned announcement, make sure it aligns with the news cycle. Morning or early afternoon is best to allow coverage during the main news bulletins that day. And remember, brevity is key. The best press conferences are short, sharp, and to the point. Say what you need to say, take some questions, and wrap it up. If necessary, offer individual interviews afterwards, but don't drag things out for the sake of it. Now, you might be thinking, could you do a press conference online over Zoom, Teams, or similar? That's certainly possible, although I'd suggest non-breaking, lower-pressure stories for a niche audience of journalists might work better online. Say if you are specifically speaking to magazine journalists on an industry topic, say. Newsrooms are understaffed, like never before, so it's certainly worth considering this option. And here's some additional thoughts about press conferences. Everything that happens in a press conference is on the record and fair game to be reported and broadcast. So avoid off-the-cuff remarks whispered to a colleague. Watch out for odd facial reactions to questions or comments, resting git face. You may not be speaking, but everything you do will be filmed from the moment you step into the room. So that's my best advice on press conferences. They can be a powerful tool when used correctly. They let you control the message, reach a wide audience fast, and manage overwhelm from the media. But they only work when the story justifies them. If there's genuine, massive media interest, great, set it up. Get your spokesman ready and make sure the right people are in the room. But if you're just trying to create news where none exists, you'll struggle to get journalists to turn up. Okay, do you need some help with low pressure, effective training to turn your colleagues into relaxed, natural and confident media performers? Drop me an email. hello@bidfamous.co.uk. Thanks for listening.